Hi everyone, Lori Marie here, mixed media artist in Vallejo, California. Had a lot of fun on the table this morning. It was time for me to purge my focal points. So I had a whole bunch of bits and pieces that I used, and I made a little coptic binding book with playing cards. I used the playing cards, I have lots of playing cards, so I used the playing cards as the base of the page, and then I added fun colorful paper and gesso and a stencil and some focal points, black Stenciling, and some Stabilo. So very, very fun. And then I used some orange twine to do the coptic binding. I will put the link to the coptic binding video underneath this video so that you can go to that, visit that, and that will walk you through the coptic binding. Other than that, see you on the table. So here's our project for today. Look at this. I'm going to walk through it, okay? It's a coptic binding. I'll attach the link for that. These are pieces that I actually cut out of the book to create windows. So let's walk through it. It's just a collage book. It was very, very fun to create. Anytime I can use the Coptic stitch, I'm a happy girl. So it was just lots of fun little bits and pieces. I was cleaning out my focal point box. So I got some focal points and some background pieces. Gelato, no, that's not true. Gesso and stencil. So background scraps, stencil, gesso, focal points, Stabilo. This is a piece of plastic like from a salad container when you buy spinach or whatever. That's what that is. Another little window there. Stays on around the edges. Stabilo around the edge of the focal points. I chose an orange twine for the binding. And there it is. Gorgeous, huh? And very fun. Alright, let's get started. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to purge our focal points. I have my plastic container and many, many, many fun focal points and colors and things like that. And we are going to play with those today. All my focal points, bits and gibbles, and 15 playing cards. The magic trick is, no, I'm just kidding. So we are going to put those 15 cards down, move my focal points, and let's get started to play. All right, I'm going to work on 6 cards at a time. I have a pile of colors, not necessarily focal points, but colors, fun colored pieces. And then I have a stack to my right where I'm going to start collecting the actual focal points. So that'll be fun. All right, baby blue and Mod Podge. Just going to put the Mod Podge on the cards. Working on 6 at a time. And then I am just going to grab some of this fun paper. And place it on those cards. Not too particular. leaving some space between the cards so that I can cut that when it is time. Probably tear it, actually. And just cover those cards. Don't put much thought into it at all. Just have fun and go for it. I'll see you in a minute. All right, I have all 6 cards covered. I'm just going to set this aside to dry. And bring in 6 more cards. And cover those with some fun, colorful paper. I just am ripping images out of a magazine or a book. The things that I have ripped out in the past. And so I am just purging. Has to be done, or we get way too much. All right, cover your cards. Shall we visit for a minute while I'm doing this? A little bit off screen, but they're nice and stuck down, so I hate to disturb them too much. But there's no reason or rhyme to what I'm doing. I am just putting fun stuff down on the 6 cards. I'll try to be on screen a little bit more next time when I set the cards down. Maybe I can move this forward. There, that's better. All right, these 6 cards are done. Set them aside to dry. Make sure everybody's all pushed down well. This is where the baby blue is very, very patient with me. Lets me apply a lot of pressure to those pieces. All right, here's the last 3 cards. And just cover those 3 cards up. We're going to flip them over and do the same thing on the other side. All right, I have these 3 covered, and I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to cover all the back sides of these cards. You don't need to watch me do that. Perfect. All right, here are my cards with all of their beautiful papers on them. Just gorgeous. I'm going to bring in my gesso and a makeup sponge and a stencil. This is kind of a fun squiggly stencil. We're going to use that. I'm just going to put a little bit of gesso in the lid of my jar. I buy my gesso by the gallon, so using it like this is a good idea. My makeup sponge, just a little bit of gesso on my makeup sponge, and I am just going to bounce it on my cards. Isn't that fun? All right, there's one. I'm going to bring the other ones in and do that. I'll put that like that. Bounce it here, and bounce it there, and just keep moving forward. I like doing the stencil on all the cards at the same time because then you do not have anything that is real uniform. When you cut the cards apart, you have a bit of this and a bit of that, which I think is pretty fun. Let that dry. Bring in the next one. And one more little bit to do. All right, so we have 1 and the half page, 2 and 3. When these guys are dry, I'm just going to flip them over and do the same thing with the stencil on the back side of all of these. When the gesso is this thin, it dries pretty quickly. They're almost dry. I'm just going to bend them where the cards are. Put a ruler down and tear those. They won't always be the same. Some will be bigger than others, which is very, very fun. Oh, rumbling tummy. Oh my goodness. Really rumbling tummy. So just go through all of your cards, bend, 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 crease, 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 and then tear the cards. Tear the cards apart. Look at those beautiful pages. Look at those beautiful hands. Aren't these gorgeous? They really are. All right, I have to go walk Hudson. Well, I don't have to. I'm going to, though. I choose to go walk Hudson. How's that? Better? All right, Hudson is walked. It's a chilly, chilly day. I am going to take one of these pages and I am going to pop a hole in it with my crocodile, just a small hole, someplace down in that corner right there. So I have it right here in the corner. Now I am not one to measure very well, so I am going to take my page and use that as my template for the bottom hole and the top hole. And I'm going to go through all of my pages and just pop a hole in the top and in the bottom using that template. So here again, bottom hole, flip it over, and the top hole. Alright, once you make 2 holes in a page, you can use that as a template too, and just keep popping it so that it's in the same place. Use that as a template. Then just run through and pop holes in each page, each yummy delicious page. I have a bunch of focal points here that I'm going to play with. And the reason that I punch the holes in here first is so that I know where I can put that focal point. So I'm just going to go through here and tear some of these up. I mean, look at that. That's so fun. Tear some of these up to the right size, and then we will glue them onto our pages. A lot of these are out of my focal point box, so a lot of them are the right size already. Look at this guy. And this guy. So fun. Okay, I'm going to start gluing things down. I'll use Mod Podge. This one's too fun not to use, that's for sure. And I'll just do one side at a time. Give that a chance to dry before I stick something on the other side. This is a great way to use up some of the old stuff that you've collected and haven't used. I'm going to take 3 of these pages and I am going to cut a window with my ruler and my X-Acto blade. I'm going to save the part that I'm cutting out because that can be a tag. So I have one of my folders that I'll use in my Cuddle Bug, which is on my lap. And this is a piece of plastic, just from like plastic packaging, salad, or I'm not quite sure where it came from. I'm going to put it in that folder. Run it through my Cuddle Bug. So here's that plastic that I ran through the embosser. Isn't that fun? My goodness, through the Cuddle Bug. So I'm going to place that, and I'm going to put some eyelets there with my crocodile. That's fun. This one I like the image here, so I'm just going to cut a window there. And I ran another piece of plastic through the Cuddle Bug. And it says postcard on it. So I am going to put that up here. So I'll cut a window at the top. Okay, so I have the focal points on one side. Let's just walk through. I think I'm going to use him for the cover. This is just an open window. This is a plastic run through the embosser. Kind of shows her face, her eyes there. This is another plastic through an embosser. So what I need to do now is put the focal points on the back. All right, everybody has a focal point or a collage at least on their pages. I'm going to let them dry. All right, we're nice and dry. I did have to go back in and re-poke a few holes in the pages where I went over the edge, over the hole with the focal point. Now I'm just grabbing my StazOn ink and just going around the edges on both sides. So with these rougher pages, I am going in a little bit. I'm laying the StazOn ink pad down a little bit flatter so I can get a better edge on that. Holding it like this wasn't doing it. Everything's too rough. So I'm just laying it flatter and adding some fun StazOn ink to the edges of those pages. Now on this one that I sent through the embosser, what I would like to do is to be able to pick up that high area with the StazOn ink a little bit. Now it looks like that's going to play a little bit. Kind of a lacy look, huh? We'll take it. And since this is StazOn ink, it will go onto that plastic. Nice. All right, I've gone through all of the cards with my StazOn. Love them. Now I'm going to come back in with my Stabilo and go around the focal points. You guys know how to do that. This is where the gesso is a really big help too, because it will help grab that Stabilo. Or sometimes the magazine pages, it'll slide right off. So just go through your cards, have fun, play, play, play. Okie doke, I have the Stabilo on and the StazOn on, and I am ready to bind my book. I have chosen this fun orange color to do the coptic binding in, and my 2 large-eyed needles. I will, lovely. I will put the link for the Coptic Stitch video under this video. And I'm going to go ahead and do the Coptic Stitch on my book, and I will bring you back to show you the finished product. Ooh! All right, my book is done. We'll take a look at that in a minute. So these are the pieces that I cut out to make the windows. So I'm just going to make some little tags. Seems like we had 3 of them. 1, 2, here we go, 3. So I'm just going to make some little tags with those. Bring my crocodile in, pop a hole in each tag. 1, 2. This is a good place to put words if you so choose to do that. I'm going to grab my StazOn, hit the edges of these tags. Just like we did for the pages. Alright, I have my tags with the StazOn ink on them. I'm just going to put this through here, tie a knot. Find a place in the book where I can just push it through that binding. Not so easy. Let me grab my needle. And I'm just going to tie that tag right onto that beautiful Coptic stitch binding. And I'm going to do that with these other two tags too, so we've got some tags hanging off the edge. So here is our Coptic binding and our tags on a book. Very, very fun. So now it is your turn. Go create, go play, and yes, go have fun.